Vic, looking at Jalen Ramsey this week.
Wait a second, different leadoff hitter today.
I had a change in the lineup. Looking at Jalen Ramsey, do you think that he's ready to play on Sunday? And if so, how does him and Xavier Howard kind of change the complexion of what you can do on defense?
Well, it's yet to be determined if he'll be able to go on Sunday. He is progressing well, practicing more this week. And we'll see how that turns out by Sunday. What was the second part of the question?
How does having Jalen Xavier Howard on the
Well,
field?
I mean, anytime you add good players to your team, it will change. It should be of a benefit. Both from their production and what it allows you to do schematically.
How did you think your defensive front held up against Philadelphia?
I thought they did well. Philadelphia undoubtedly has the best offensive line in the league. And I thought overall, when you consider that, who we were playing, that I thought they probably had their best game against the run this year. I thought Raekwon made good advances in his quality of play.
About that, just the overall defensive performance. I know a lot of the coaches and players have talked about this being a process-oriented team. So, from your perspective, when you look at that last game, you give up 31 points, but you also have 2 takeaways and you score. How do you kind of rationalize and how do you kind of process
Yeah,
that?
we were, obviously they're one of the best teams in the league. Everybody, we were ranked 1 in offense going in. Everybody forgot they were 2. So it's a high-quality team. And I thought we acquitted ourselves well. We had the touchdown. The field goal, the strip sack by Bradley set up the other 3 points. So we kind of scored 10 points. But we were a play or 2 away from having a great performance. And we just let a couple plays get away from us. But was pleased with the progress we showed. I know it's hard to fathom that. When you allow 31, but there was good progress made.
What did you think of the Long Baker combination on Sunday?
Yeah, I think David's been improving all along here the last couple of weeks, and hopefully he can keep doing that. And Bake's been playing better the last couple of weeks too.
If you don't have Holland on Sunday because of protocol, who among Brandon Jones, Elijah Campbell, Nick Needham has a skill set best suited for Javon's role?
Well, I probably would start off as Brandon, and we'll see where that takes us.
Would you look at your defense from how it's progressed this year to now where it could be in December, or I don't know if you want to look ahead to that. But
Yeah, no, I'm not a look ahead guy. It's we got, like I told the players, you have 16 or 17 now. I'm still back in the 17 weekly seasons, and we're focused on Game 8. Big time team, divisional opponent, conference opponent, and hopefully we will keep improving. A lot of that's predicated on availability of players and kind of hopefully crossing your fingers and keep them free of the injury bug. But I am encouraged and enthusiastic about where we can be.
Vic, it looks from where we sit like Bradley Chubb's really come on the last few weeks. Would you agree with that assessment? And if so, what's gone into it?
Yeah, I think he's played well all year. He made 3 or 4 big plays against New England in Game 1 that helped us win that game. I think he's been consistently good all year. Lately he's had some sacks, which is what everybody notices, so they think they're the play's much better, but I think he's had 2 or 3 sacks in the last 2 games, and but he played about 110 plays in those 2 games, so there's a lot. How did he do in those other 107? And he's been doing good.
Vic, without giving away organizational secrets, how does the trade deadline work for you and the defense? Do you Does Chris Greer start asking you 4 weeks ago, or does he ask you this week, or how do you tell Mike McDaniel? How does that work?
Neither one of them has said a peep to me. So probably if something happens, I might know a couple minutes before you do. And that'd be it.
Have you said a peep to them?
Nope.
Well, on that line of thought, when Jalen Ramsey was signed, is that somebody you say, obviously you're happy you signed talent. Was that any input from you at all on this guy to work with?
No, just to, as an example of what I just said, Chris called me. I was in my car driving somewhere here and explained to me what could happen. And I said, well, this is already happening, isn't it? So he wasn't calling me to ask. I think I knew a half hour before you guys did on that one.
So what was your reaction when he told you that news, if you want to call it that?
It was good, Always in favor of great players. There's a bunch of coaches in the Hall of Fame. It's just coincidentally the bunch of the players they had are in there with them. So good players make good coaches.
Greer's been very good historically. Chris Greer's been very good historically in terms of taking input from his head coach on personnel. Is that something that you sought clarity on from Mike or from Chris before you took this job, that you would have input in defensive personnel decisions, acquisitions?
No, I didn't.
If you were asked for your opinion, would there be certain positions you might highlight that you would like some depth added?
If there was, I certainly wouldn't say it here.
Worth a try.
Nice try.
When X and Jalen are available, is Cater going to be the best option for the nickel slot position?
Yeah.
And then I'm sorry.
Sure.
I know you would also have then Needham or Nickerson available as the backup nickel, right?
Correct.
This is kind of an odd season for the defense in that you're getting players, probably getting a lot of players back, or in the secondary anyways. Have you had a season like this before where?
Yeah. Our secondary's kind of been in flux all season, even during training camp. And hopefully at some time in the near future we can get it ironclad, because it's a group, much like the O-line, you want continuity. And, different guys have different skill sets, so it definitely affects what you do schematically in the secondary. And hopefully we can get there. But it's been that way almost from day one when I got here.
When you talk about that, Vic, we hear about O-line consistency, 5 guys. You got 5 guys in the nickel package, and is it just as important in the secondary and the O-line, or is it a little less? Do guys play a little independently of each other more in the secondary?
It's just as important. It really is. Now, they're spread out more. Those 5 O-linemen are right next to each other. But it's just as important. And the inside linebackers are part of that equation, too.
How much of a dilemma, if any, has it been with Ogba with you this year? Because he's a guy with a career body of work that's good. Obviously, only a handful of snaps the other night. You have great depth on the edge. In terms of usage of him, how much thought have you given that?
Yeah, we have a lot of confidence in him. Right now, it's when we have the lineup that we had the other night with Gink playing primarily outside and David playing better inside, just makes it hard to get a 4th guy in there some.
What is your honest assessment of Channington?
Well, it's been so long since Channing's gotten any reps on defensively. He's doing a good job in special teams. Still think he's a good player with good potential, in his future.
You had mentioned earlier about the inserting Ramsey opens up what you can do schematically. Can you give us a better sense of how much of your playbook have you yet to open up because you don't have Ramsey and X on the corners, and how much, if any, of that cooking up you did in the past year, the ideas you had, how much of that plays into having Ramsey and X on the corners?
It plays a lot into it. In many ways, not the only way, but your corners' abilities govern your defense. And if you feel confident in them that they can, play good outside the numbers on the routes you get out there, it has an effect on what you do defensively. There's no way around that.
Vic, you obviously played this team week 2. What, if anything, have you seen change about this Patriots offense since you last played?
Not a lot. They had a really good game last week against Buffalo. Quarterback was on fire. They ran the ball good. Had a big 2-minute drive to go win the game. I think, much like in our case in some places, the first time we played them, both their tackles were out, and now they're back. So it will be, just from that standpoint, a better offense than it was in that game. So I think they're coming around. They've only won 2 games, but they did have a couple games where it got lopsided. But in all their other games, the point differential is about 7 points. So they're a really good team. They play good defense. Okay, I don't think we'll have a Star Wars type game on offense. We got to be ready to go play good defense to win this game.
Final two.
Just one final thing. Yeah, there was talk before the Philadelphia game. You obviously work with Philadelphia. Does that help you at all? I mean, that's one of those.
Last week?
Yeah.
No. Like I said, I wasn't kidding. They got way more out of me than I got out of them. But that's just what the setup was. I was giving them information. I wasn't getting it from them.
Are we gonna let you go without a Cam Smith question? Is it
I think so.
What do you want to see?
Apparently not.
Well, I'm gonna ask him. What do you want to see out of him? What is the feedback you are giving him on a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, right now he's nursing an injury. He had to leave practice yesterday real early. Don't think he'll practice today. So, he's got to overcome that to continue his progress. But he's been getting reps and doing better.